It is 2:47 a.m. at a mid-sized logistics company, and a regional cloud outage just took down the warehouse management system. Nobody caused it, but the main board goes dark, and everyone is about to be judged by what happens in the next 6 hours. The night shift cannot confirm which trucks are loaded because manifests live in the dead system. Customer service keeps promising delivery windows no one can meet. Finance is panicking over penalty clauses in major contracts, and the only person who knows the manual fallback procedure is unreachable. Nothing about this operation was badly run. The company maintained a continuity plan, reviewed its cloud dependencies annually, and kept its risk register updated. For 6 critical hours, an organization with rigorous internal oversight behaved like one that had never thought about resilience at all. Perfect compliance did not stop the operation from entering a state of paralysis. This pattern is scaling up. Across energy, trade, and finance, highly regulated industries are facing the same collapse of coordination. In July 2024, a single faulty software update from a trusted vendor grounded airline fleets and froze hospital scheduling globally within hours. The vulnerability wasn't inside the affected organizations, it was in the external dependency they all shared. In March 2021, a single container ship wedged sideways in the Suez Canal, stalling world trade for 6 days. While shipping companies managed their own logistics competently, almost no one governed the risk of such a massive trade concentration. Every organization involved in these crises possessed mature governance frameworks. The failure emerged in the gaps those frameworks were never built to bridge. A standard modern enterprise is built from distinct boxes: risk management, business continuity, cybersecurity, supply chain, and engineering. Over the last 30 years, standardized frameworks like ISO and NUST have brought these individual functions to a peak of operational efficiency within their own borders. If you look at this structure, there is no incompetent villain. Every team is doing its job well according to the standards they are measured against. But a system can fail catastrophically even when every individual part performs exactly as designed. The problem is that no single department owns the connections between the others. These unmanaged spaces are the seams. They represent the gaps in communication and authority that exist between highly optimized departments. Modern disruptions behave like infections. A cyber glitch jumps to a supply chain halt, which triggers a legal crisis and a leadership failure. The damage isn't the initial event, it's the chain reaction across these seams. By analyzing these chain reactions across maritime, energy, and infrastructure sectors, we can map exactly where the connections fail. This mapping reveals 6 specific structural weaknesses, the 6 corporate resilience deficits. During the 2025 Iberian blackout, every individual utility followed its own safety protocols correctly. However, the interconnected grid failed to coordinate a response within the 5-second window allowed by the physics of the voltage surge. This is a flow deficit. These weaknesses reinforce each other. Poor flow slows down coordination, creating a network deficit. That weakens the organization's continuity, which eventually erodes the integrity of the information leadership relies on to make decisions. Disruptions rarely exploit a single broken part. They exploit a system's inability to coordinate its own defenses across its seams. To solve this, organizations need a layer above the silos. Enterprise resilience architecture doesn't replace existing departments. It governs the interactions between them to ensure they work together when the pressure is on. Most companies focus on reaction, convening a crisis team after the alarm sounds. Architecture is the deliberate design of information flow, authority, and resource movement before the crisis begins. A building's resilience to an earthquake is decided when the structural blueprints are drawn, not while the ground is shaking. Corporate resilience works the same way. It is a foundational property of the organization's design, not a document that sits in a drawer until it is needed. This requires a shift for boards and leadership. Instead of only checking for individual compliance, they must investigate how their internal and external systems connect. Executives should look past the risk register and identify which approval chains were built for calm weather rather than crisis speed. They must find the hidden dependencies, where the failure of one vendor could trigger a systemic collapse. The organizations that hold up best over the next decade will not be the ones with the thickest policy binders or the largest risk budgets. Success will belong to the companies that stop waiting for the seams to fail and build strong connections long before the next 2:47 a.m. emergency.